The pharmacy manager refuses to sell medicine to a poor kid short of breath. The air in the pharmacy felt heavy as the boy Gavin's chest hitched in sobs, and the sound of Jasmine's hurried steps, his sister who'd brought him, cut down the aisle to the counter. "He needs the medicine now, please. He's running out of air," Jasmine said, her voice trembling, eyes locked on the manager's hands. "There isn't any medicine," Savannah, the pharmacy manager, replied coldly, arms crossed, not even blinking. "I can see a box of the medication right there behind the glass," Jasmine said, pointing with a shaking hand. "It's reserved, and there's nothing I can do," Savannah answered, lifting her chin like she was closing the matter. "Reserved for who? When my brother can't breathe?" Jasmine asked, rage contained, her whole body leaning over the counter. "I don't need to explain internal store details," Savannah said with disdain, just the corner of her mouth moving. Jasmine drew a deep breath and, with her hand hidden in her pocket, discreetly turned on her phone's recorder, never taking her eyes off Savannah. "Then call whoever's in charge. Call whoever's the boss. Call someone with a heart," Jasmine pleaded, her voice almost breaking. "I'm the manager, and I already said that medicine you're looking at is reserved, and the final decision is mine," Savannah replied with calculated cool. "You're going to sell that medicine, even if I have to stand here all night," Jasmine said firmly, leaning closer to the glass. "If you keep disrespecting me, I'll call security to remove you," Savannah threatened, her stare hard. "Call whoever you want, but look at him, he can't breathe," Jasmine said, pointing at Gavin, panting, hunched by the wall. At that moment, Gavin's legs gave out, and his small body slid to the floor with a hard thud, air failing him. "Gavin, stay with me. Breathe with me. Look at me," Jasmine said, kneeling and gently cupping his face. "Get him outside. He can't be lying here," Savannah said dryly, stepping back. "I'm calling an ambulance right now," Jasmine said, fingers trembling as she dialed. "Do what you want. Don't block the way," Savannah answered, already retreating to the back like she was closing a door on a problem. "Please pick up, hurry. This is an emergency. He can't breathe," Jasmine told the dispatcher, her voice tearing. Hearing the cries, Brandon, a young pharmacy clerk, hurried into the room and froze when he saw the boy on the floor, fighting to breathe. "I can get some water. Maybe that'll help," Brandon said in a shaky voice, speaking low but unable to hide his nervous rush. "Please, yes, and grab something to support his head," Jasmine said quickly, never taking her eyes off Gavin. "I'll grab a towel," Brandon said, hurrying off and glancing back over his shoulder. "If you take anything from stock without authorization, you're fired," Savannah warned from the back doorway, cold as stone. "Then you call the ambulance too." "He's a child," Jasmine said, glaring at Savannah in anger. "I already said it's your problem," Savannah replied, turning her back and disappearing into the rear. Sirens echoed from far away, growing until they filled the store aisle, while Jasmine cradled Gavin's head in her hands. "Stay with me. Breathe slow. Listen to my voice," Jasmine said, her heart pounding in her throat. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry," Brandon whispered, setting the towel down and stepping back, eyes brimming. "Help clear a path. Please, help them get in," Jasmine asked Brandon as the doors opened for the paramedics. "Excuse us, we need to get to him now," a paramedic said, moving in with the gurney. "He's in crisis. They refuse to sell the medicine right in front of me," Jasmine said, pointing at the counter in outrage. "We're going to stabilize and head to the hospital," the paramedic replied, already fitting the mask and guiding the team. "I'm going with him. I'm responsible," Jasmine said, standing up, her clothes dirty from the floor. Before the ambulance door shut, Jasmine lifted her face and stared at Savannah, standing still in the back like a shadow. "This won't end here," Jasmine said firmly from inside the ambulance. "Do whatever you want," Savannah answered with distant frost, crossing her arms again, At the hospital, the hallway smelled clean, while Jasmine's heart pounded like a hammer in her chest. He's stabilized. The crisis worsened because his continuous use of the medication was interrupted. This medication should never be unavailable, a doctor said direct. They denied it to him. I saw the box, and they told me it was reserved, Jasmine said, anger in her voice and tears held back. Keep the prescription current and bring it every time. We'll adjust his medication, the doctor replied, jotting notes. I won't let this happen again. I promise, Jasmine said, looking at Gavin, still fragile on the gurney. The room grew quieter, and her outrage became purpose as Jasmine took her phone from her pocket and tapped play. There isn't any medicine. It's reserved. I'll call security, Savannah's voice repeated from the device, cutting like a blade. You refused what he needed, and now he's here, Jasmine said to herself, staring at the screen as if she were staring at the manager. Later, Benjamin, Jasmine's boyfriend, rushed in with long strides and a tense brow. I came as soon as I got your call. How is he? Benjamin asked, a cool concern in his tone. Stable now, but he couldn't breathe because they denied the medicine, Jasmine said, hugging herself to keep from shaking. Who did that? Tell me, I'll take care of it, Benjamin said, a quick indignation flaring as he stepped closer. It was the pharmacy manager, Savannah, and I recorded everything, Jasmine said, taking out her phone and hitting play again. Let me listen carefully. I can make a cleaner copy and take it to the right people, Benjamin said, hands out. This doesn't leave my hands. You can listen right next to me, Jasmine answered, gripping the phone in her palm. I'm on your side. You know that. Trust me, Benjamin said, forcing a smile that never reached his eyes. I trust what I see, and I saw her refuse it, looking me in the eye, Jasmine said, straight to the point. I can find a lawyer now, call the press, pull the store's camera footage, Benjamin said, rushing through a rehearsed list. Let's take it slow. He needs to get better first. Then we expose everything, Jasmine replied, steady. Back in the room, Gavin looked at her with tired eyes and a misplaced guilt. Sorry for being trouble, Gavin said weakly, squeezing her fingers. You're not trouble at all. You're the only thing that matters to me, Jasmine said, her voice trembling. Is it going to be okay? Gavin asked, searching for air and afraid of remembering the fall. Yeah, because no one's ever denying your medicine again, Jasmine said, a promise burning like fire. The next morning, Jasmine walked with purpose into the health inspection office, like dragging a weight she refused to drop. I'm here to file a complaint. My brother couldn't breathe and the manager refused to sell the medicine, Jasmine said, her voice thick with anger. Which pharmacy? I'm Trevor, an inspector. I can go with you, Trevor said, voice calm, expression neutral. It's the one by the market. The manager's name is Savannah. I want you to see it with your own eyes, Jasmine said, breathing deep to hold back her fury. Let's go there now, Trevor replied, gestures contained, a look that said nothing. When they arrived, Savannah stood behind the counter arranging boxes with the same icy composure as always. Here's the prescription. The medicine was visible yesterday and she refused me to my face, Jasmine said, setting the paper on the counter. These are serious and baseless accusations, Savannah replied, tugging the corner of the paper like she was wiping the counter clean. I'll check, Trevor said with practiced calm, scanning a few shelves and flipping through papers like he was just fulfilling a formality. Look closely. Yesterday there was a box right here. Exactly here, Jasmine said, pointing at the glass. The pharmacy is in order. There are no irregularities, Trevor replied coldly, scribbling on a sheet like the case was already closed. Yesterday there were boxes of that medicine in stock, Brandon, the young clerk, whispered, appearing by the register with restless hands. Be quiet and get back to work, Savannah said, shoving Brandon's shoulder with a curt motion. Don't shove him. He's telling the truth, Jasmine said, stepping forward. The complaint is unfounded. The pharmacy is compliant, Trevor declared flatly, pocketing his pen and turning to leave. You didn't even look properly. You're seeing what you want to see, Jasmine said, anger unmasked. Case closed for now. Follow official procedures, Trevor replied, walking out without looking back. Jasmine stood there, motionless for a few seconds, trying to grasp how anyone could call that normal. You're lost. You should have left yesterday, Savannah said with a half-smile that hurt. I'm not giving up. You're going to pay for what you did, Jasmine said, staring the manager down, eyes full of fury. At dusk, the store finally emptied and the back area went silent, broken only by the clatter of the metal door. He always locks the back door. I know this is the time, Jasmine told herself, leaning against the side wall and listening for keys in the latch. You scared me. What do you want? Brandon asked as he appeared with a keyring, face pale, hands shaking. I want to know why my brother was denied his medicine, Jasmine said, firm, blocking the way with her body. I can't talk. I need this job, Brandon said, eyes dropping like he was looking for a hole in the ground. Look at me. He collapsed in front of you, and you saw it, Jasmine said low and steady, her truth cutting. I just follow orders. I don't know anything, Brandon replied, averting his eyes and rubbing a nervous hand over his apron. You saw the box. You heard her refuse me. Don't pretend you weren't there, Jasmine said, anger held in check. I can't, Brandon said, voice cracking. Do you want to carry that guilt? Watch another kid hit the floor because you kept quiet? Jasmine pressed, stepping in closer. Brandon closed his eyes, drew a long breath, and after a few seconds of silence spoke with a broken voice. Some of the boxes go missing from the counter. Savannah has us set them aside for pickups out back, always cash and no prescription, Brandon confessed. Who buys? What time? How does it work? Jasmine fired off, urgency rising. I don't really know, but the pickups at night happen right before closing, Brandon said, glancing down the corridor like he was afraid of being heard. Warned Trevor, the inspector who said everything was fine? Jasmine asked, folding her arms to keep from shaking. He looks the other way. He's one of Savannah's allies, Brandon said, swallowing hard like he was choking down a nail. Just then, the metal door creaked again, and both of them jolted as a figure filled the threshold. You two, out here, doing what? Savannah appeared with a big security guard behind her, eyes hard as iron. I was just locking the door, that's all, Brandon said, stepping back and almost tripping. You're coming with me, now, Savannah said, grabbing Brandon's arm, squeezing to make control visible. Let him go. The conversation is with me, Jasmine said, spine straight, hiding the fear. You have no idea who you're messing with, and next time you show up here, you'll regret it, Savannah warned, a cold slice in the air. I'm not afraid of you, Jasmine said, holding her gaze. Then learn to be, Savannah shot back, yanking Brandon inside while the guard blocked the way. Back at the hospital, the beeping monitors filled the room, a second-by-second reminder that Gavin was still fighting to breathe. I brought a blanket and some coffee. You need to rest, Benjamin said, arriving with soft steps and a sweet smile. Thanks. Leave them there. I'm fine sitting close to him, Jasmine said, straightening the soup on the tray. You shouldn't have to worry about all this alone, Benjamin said softly, a controlled smile as he pulled a chair up beside her. I can handle it. I just want him to get better fast, Jasmine answered, keeping her eyes on her brother. I know, and you're being so strong. But let me help for real. If I could just take your phone for a moment, I'll make a copy of the audio and give it back quick. No risk of losing anything, Benjamin said gently, laying a hand on her shoulder. No, the phone stays with me, Jasmine replied, tucking it into her pocket with a decisive motion. You're making everything harder. I'm only trying to help, Benjamin said, irritation surfacing in his voice. I appreciate it, but the phone stays with me, Jasmine said calmly, refusing to step into a fight. You don't trust me? Benjamin asked, tilting his head, gauging her reaction. I trust what keeps me safe. And right now, that's this, Jasmine said, touching the pocket where the phone weighed. From that moment on, suspicious of something, Jasmine decided not to reveal anything about what she'd heard behind the pharmacy, keeping it to herself. The next night, after a whole day turning over Brandon's every word, Jasmine decided she wasn't waiting for anyone else to act. She returned to the pharmacy to watch with her own eyes and record whatever she could. She set up near the dumpsters, took a breath, and opened her camera, trying to hold steady. "Come on, show yourself. Show what you hide," Jasmine whispered to herself as the metal roll-up door in back began to rise. Savannah appeared, carrying a box in her arms, and paused in the doorway like she was waiting for a signal. "This is it," Jasmine whispered, lifting her phone and starting to record video, her heart racing. A car pulled up alongside, headlights low, and the door opened slowly. Jasmine's breath caught as she recognized who stepped out. It was Benjamin, her own boyfriend, walking up to Savannah with an easy smile. Right behind him came Trevor, straightening his shirt like this was routine. From her hiding spot, Jasmine couldn't hear them, just see the gestures. Savannah set the box down on the ground like it was nothing. Benjamin crouched, placed it in the trunk without hurry, and Trevor made a discreet motion with his hand, as if confirming something already arranged. Savannah slapped her palm on the side of the box, like sealing the deal. Jasmine kept her phone steady, body hidden in the dumpster's shadow, breath under control. She watched Benjamin close the trunk and exchange a quick look with Trevor before both got in the car. Savannah stepped back inside, pulling the metal door down. The car left, the silence returning like nothing had happened, but the video seared hot as iron in Jasmine's hands. Back at the hospital, Jasmine entered Gavin's room with a composed face and measured movements. A few minutes later, Benjamin came in, none the wiser, trying to get close the way he always did. Jasmine acted normal. He noticed nothing and left, saying he'd be back later, while she kept her steady gaze on Gavin, carrying alone the weight of what she'd discovered. The night crawled, and Jasmine barely slept. Every time she looked at her sleeping brother, the urgency grew. At sunrise, she knew what she had to do, face Brandon head-on. "I need to talk to you before your shift," Jasmine said, blocking Brandon's path on the sidewalk just outside the service door. I'm late. I can't right now," Brandon replied, skin pale. "Look at this, and don't pretend you didn't see it," Jasmine said, opening the video and showing Savannah with the box. That could be anything," Brandon hedged, voice shaking as he stepped back. "And this?" Jasmine asked, sliding her finger to the clip of Benjamin loading the trunk. "I don't know who that is," Brandon reflexively replied, blinking fast like he was trying to wake from a bad dream. "Do you need me to remind you that you watched my brother collapse on the floor? How many more have to go through that before you admit it?" Jasmine asked, outrage steady. "Okay, I'll talk. I can't carry this anymore," Brandon said, voice breaking, keys biting into his palm, loud enough to hear. "We're going to the police together. I want a report on file today," Jasmine said, propelled by decision. "It won't help. If it goes in there, it disappears," Brandon said, shaking his head. "What do you mean, disappears?" Jasmine asked, incredulous and hurt. "Same way Trevor's inspection vanished. There are a lot of people in authority who've been bought. Any complaint that goes through there evaporates," Brandon said, bitterness held in check. "Then give me another path, because I'm not going home pretending nothing happened," Jasmine said, unflinching. "There's a journalist who won't back down from schemes like this. He's the only person I believe can hold the line," Brandon suggested, courage rising alongside fear. "What's his name?" Jasmine asked, yanking out her phone with the urgency of someone who'd already decided. "Joseph has a combative reputation, doesn't run when things get loud," Brandon answered, breathing deep. "Then we go now," Jasmine said, stepping off the curb without looking back. "I'll go with you, And tell him what I know and what I saw, Brandon said, squaring his shoulders like he was finally claiming his name. They went to the small office where Joseph took tips. Jasmine and Brandon told him everything, no sugarcoating, while Joseph listened in silence, noting times, gestures, and the order of events. When they finished, he said he'd help. He'd copy the files, verify every detail, and publish only what was essential to expose the handoff, while filing everything with oversight agencies beyond Trevor's reach. Before they left, he warned there'd be pressure, and they needed to stay alert. Hours later, the first images and clips of audio were everywhere, and Savannah's icy refusal began to echo. "He posted," Jasmine said when the notification flashed, fear and strength rippling together. "Now the blowback comes, one way or another," Brandon replied, clasping his own hands to keep them from shaking. "If anyone contacts you, don't say a word. Send them straight to Joseph," Jasmine said quickly, already heading for the hospital. "I'll stick to that, I promise," Brandon said, nodding with a new seriousness in his face. Jasmine stepped back into the hospital, hurried down the corridors, ready to smile at Gavin and tell him something outside had changed. But when she walked into the room, she froze. Her brother was already lying on a gurney beside the bed, and 2 nurses were starting to wheel him out. "What are you doing? Where are you taking him?" Jasmine asked, voice sliced by shock. "A transfer was requested," one nurse answered without looking up, quickening his pace. "Requested by who? I didn't authorize anything," Jasmine said, running behind the gurney, her heart screaming. "I only got the order. I need to take him to the side exit," the nurse said tensely, avoiding eye contact. "Stop right now. My brother doesn't leave here without me," Jasmine said, trying to catch the corner of the gurney. "I can't stop. I have to follow the directive," the nurse replied, motioning for people to make way. In the parking lot, a van waited with its door open, and next to it stood Benjamin, well pressed, and Savannah's security guard, arms crossed like a wall. "What are you doing to my brother?" Jasmine asked, planting herself in front of the van, her whole body braced. "Would have been better if you'd stayed quiet, because now your brother pays the price," Benjamin said with sugary coldness, eyes sharp as a blade. "Say that again, looking in my eyes," Jasmine said, fury cutting through fear like a knife. "You heard me. Don't make a scene," Benjamin replied, making a commanding gesture to the nurses. Jasmine's hand flew up on impulse, a crack of a slap across his face like a dead end refusing to end. "Are you out of your mind?" Benjamin shouted, a hand on his cheek, the mask shattering in seconds. The security guard lunged and shoved her hard against the railing. "Get the kid in the van, now," the guard ordered, voice rough, pointing at the nurses. "This isn't over. I'm calling for help," Jasmine cried, catching her breath and pulling out her phone. "Call whoever you want. The police won't help. We've got people everywhere," Benjamin said with a short, cruel laugh. "Joseph, I need help. They're trying to take my brother from the hospital right now," Jasmine shouted like pulling an alarm, her voice cutting through the air. At the name, Benjamin jolted. His face went hard. "Grab her phone, now!" Benjamin ordered, anger coiled tight. The guard surged forward, ripped the device from Jasmine's hands and threw it to the ground, the impact scraping the air. "Show's over. Be quiet," the guard said, ice cold. "It's already done. You can't undo this," Jasmine said, breath short, staring Benjamin down without retreating. "Get that gurney in the van, now," Benjamin ordered, the polish gone from his voice. I can't leave like this. No paperwork, no guardian." The lead nurse hesitated, stepping back. "You've got an order," the guard snapped, looming with his bulk. "I'm not taking the fall for this," the nurse said, firm for the first time, tightening his grip on the gurney. That's when sirens smashed through the street's silence like a sledgehammer, and in seconds, the side exit was swarmed by squad cars pulling in from all directions. "No way," Benjamin muttered, trying to slip past Jasmine to dive into the van. "Stay right there," an authoritative voice called from a distance as doors slammed and firm footsteps closed in around the group. "I've got nothing to do with this," the guard tried, raising his hands. "Too late. Step away from the vehicle and don't try to get in," the same voice ordered, moving between Benjamin and the van's door. "I was only going to accompany him. You're overreacting," Benjamin said, a fake smile struggling to reappear. The nurses rolled the gurney back, and Gavin's small body stayed safe, breathing with help and out of the wrong hands. Jasmine breathed like she'd surfaced from underwater and gripped the edge of the gurney, relief for an instant, but braced not to collapse. In the days that followed, Joseph's story ran everywhere, showing the alley video, the audio of the refusal, and testimony from employees who decided to speak. Savannah was taken in under warrant. Benjamin showed up in cuffs beside patrol cars, and Trevor lost the protection of his badge when his part came to light. Back at the hospital, Gavin was again in a secure room. "I got scared when I woke up and you weren't here," he said softly. "Now no one lays a finger on you without getting through me," Jasmine answered, holding his hand tight. For the first time in days, she took a deep breath without fear. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, give it a like, and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. See you in the next story.